Well, first of all, thrilled with the victory. In this conference, when you win one, we've now won 8 Big East games. You have to take every one of them as they come and in your own world celebrate them because they're not easy to get. Focusing on the second half tonight, I thought Quincy Oliveri was just a terrific player. It's hard for me to fight and say, he's going to be a first-team All-Big East player because it's almost like a disrespect to how many great players are in our league, and because there are. I mean, it's such a difficult list to be on. But I know this, he's in the conversation. Representing our team, I don't know if I've had a player that's meant more to the overall success of the team from an individual perspective than what Quincy Oliveri has done for us. You forget the crosstown shootout. You forget what he did in the last 4 minutes against St. John's at home. Both DePaul games now. In one of our toughest losses, Delaware, he had over 30 points. He's just been really consistent. If he's not the leading scorer in the Big East at the moment, I think he's second. And just the consistency that he plays with and the maturity of having a subpar first half where he was 1 for 5 and coming out after halftime and scoring 28 points in one half. In this building with as many great moments and players as there has existed, there are many moments when you can point to that player who scored 28 points in a half in a conference game. So I tip my hat to Quincy. Sure glad that we have him. And I also thought Davion McKnight was outstanding. Again, 8 assists and 0 turnovers. That assist-to-turnover ratio and his quality of play, he's probably our most consistent player at the moment when you consider how he's played the last 2 months. Also, I thought both Kachi Enze and Lazar Djokovic, our 2 freshmen, came in and gave us some good effort, had some good plays. They're still freshmen, but it was nice to see them this late in the year contribute the way they did. So we'll take it, and obviously we're in D.C. against Georgetown this weekend.
Obviously, you had some comments about the lack of effort against Marquette, so just where would you grade your team's effort today?
I would say it went like in 3 waves. The first 10 to 12 minutes, maybe the first 11 minutes of the first half, I thought we were outstanding, playing very good basketball on both offense and defense, and we were efficient. And we got into kind of a bad lull offensively where we missed shots. It happened against Providence in the second half. And we let our offense start to affect our defense. All of a sudden, you give up a key second shot. You don't close out hard to shooters. You get spread out, and you kind of have that loser's limp, like, it's not going well. And we experienced that in this game. In the last 8-9 minutes of the first half, I think we got outscored by 10 points, and a big reason why the score was up 4 at the half was because of that phase we went through. But to our team's credit, I thought the second half we started off like we did in the first and maybe had our best stretch of play in a long time. I know DePaul on their end is struggling, but I really look at our team through how we do. And I thought we had, obviously, one player had 28 points in the second half. So that has to be a good thing for you.
Dez obviously goes without a field goal against Marquette, and then he has success tonight going to the rim. I think he was 50%. Do you have an update on him after leaving the game there in the second half, he and maybe Sasha, or is it too early to tell?
No, Dez had a slight sprain of his ankle about a week ago, and he was able to, play through it. And he re-aggravated that here tonight. So I don't know. Hopefully he can make a quick recovery. Sasha, I'm not sure about because I think it's maybe more of his heel than his ankle. And I think we'll know more about him in the next couple of days.
Sean, you've talked about in the past just how hard February can be for freshmen. You obviously mentioned Kaji and Lazar, but you got big games again today from Dalen and Trey. You've leaned on them a lot this year, obviously. How nice was it to have a game like this for them this late in the year?
For sure. I mean, look, in our conference, you can name on one hand the freshmen that contribute. And there's some really good players that are freshmen in our league. They just don't get to play in the games. It's just in 2024, it's a different industry than it would have been 3 years ago, 5 years ago. I mean, when I coached at Arizona, we would have 3 or 4 starters that were freshmen, and really nobody said anything, and to some degree we would do fine because other freshmen were playing on other teams as well. College basketball, if you remember, everybody was young for a while. Now it's just the opposite because of the pandemic, COVID year, the transfer portal. So we have to all adjust. But our freshmen, not only Trey and Dalen, they've all gotten a lot of experience. And sometimes it's, baptism by fire, and it doesn't necessarily go well for them. But I do think their best basketball is ahead of them. And all these experiences they get this year will help them. It doesn't help our team sometimes this year, but it will help both them and our program and team in the future. But I do think both Dalen and Trey, Kachi, and Lazar, all 4 of the freshmen, did a good job in tonight's game.
Just curious as a coach, when you see a moment like Brad got to have tonight where he hits the 3, what's that mean to you as the head coach of the team who sees him work in day out in practice?
No, I mentioned it just a minute ago. Walk-ons for me always have a soft spot for them because they give so much to the program and to the team every single day with very little accolades. Don't get a chance to play in the game. Sometimes they go long stretches where, in practice, they practice for 2 hours. Brad is one of our best practice players. If you ask his teammates that, I think they would echo my comment. But of all the years that I've been a coach, I don't know if I've ever had a walk-on, a non-scholarship player that impacts winning that's better than Brad Colbert. And I think he's thinking about potentially leaving and giving himself a chance to play at a Division II or a different level. He would be a really good player at that level. And, hopefully we can convince him to stay. But he is really a great teammate. I talked a lot about high effort. He brings it every single day. He really does. And it was great. I didn't realize that was the only basket or three-pointer that he's made in his career, so glad he got one to go.
Coach Davion goes, you already said he was great tonight with 13 and 8, but he goes 3 for 5 from 3, and I think 2 of those might have been right at the beginning to go up 9-0. As someone who sees him every day, can you just describe the improvements he's made going back to November with his confidence to shoot from beyond the arc?
Yeah, he's a pleasure to coach. He's a stud. He's the same every game. I thought he was the same against Marquette. He just does what he's supposed to do. He knew that he had to improve as a shooter, and he's worked tirelessly from early in the summer on, and he's grown confident. He started to shoot them probably, about mid to late December, and right now, if you give him an open 3, other than Quincy, I don't know, maybe Trey, he's gonna knock them in. His percentage speaks to that. But his assist-to-turnover ratio, the pace he plays at, being the leader that he is, the high-effort guy that he is, he sets the tone. I love coaching him. And, again, when think about both Quincy and him joining us over the off-season, really thankful that those guys became our backcourt. They've been really solid for us. And down the stretch, we're going to need those 2 guys to really play well, and I believe they're both capable.